Hiya, it's Carly from Kip McGrath Carlisle again, and today is time for subtraction. So when I was talking about addition, we talked about dealing with younger ones and doing practical methods. So if, for example, we were just starting out and we were doing taking away, we could do something with counters, and say I wanted them to do 5, take away 3, I would get the 5 counters out and physically take away 3 and then get them to count what's left. So that would be your starting point when we're doing subtraction with littler ones. You can then move on to something like a number line. So again, you start with what you're taking away from. So say I was starting with 7, take away 2, I would get them to point at the 7 and tell them to jump the number that we're taking away. So we're going to take away 2. So jump 1, 2, and then what they're pointing at is their answer. Okay, so those are 2 simpler methods for little ones. When we move on to this kind of method, again, this is stacking, a bit like the addition, and we write our numbers, and we've got to make sure the first thing we tell children is to line up the numbers. So the units have to line up, the tens have to line up. We can't have them lopsided. If, for example, there were decimals, that would be really important that they lined up the decimal points. So that's the first thing. We then remind them, the same as addition, that we always start in our right-hand column. And we are always looking at the top number, take away the bottom number. If, for example, they have a calculation not set out like this, you've got to remind them that the big number goes on the top, okay? So top number, take away the bottom number. So we're going to do 6, take away 8. And the question I usually ask is, can I take 8 away from 6? Is it big enough? And the answer for this one is obviously no, 6 is too small. And so at that point, we talk about borrowing. So the idea is, I haven't got enough here, so I need to go and borrow from my neighbour. This is worth 70, so I'm going to borrow a whole 10 from there and move it onto here. So this becomes 16. The 10 that I've borrowed off there has to be crossed off to make this now 60, not 70 anymore. So I've now got 60 and 16, which still adds up to 76. Obviously emphasising these points as you're going along to make it clear that the number hasn't changed, we've just rearranged it a little. Okay, so we're doing 16, take away 8. Now, obviously, they're not going to be able to put up 16 fingers, so what we do is we count to 8 using their fingers. So they've got 8 fingers held up, and we're going to put one down for every number that we count down. So 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Our answer, when we take 8 away, is 8. So the 8 goes in there. And then we've got 6, take away 3. So this time they could put up 6 fingers. 1, 2, 3, they get 3 left. And that's our answer. Okay, it is useful to tell children that they can reverse everything, and this is what we call the inverse, to check their answers. So they could add together the 2 38s and they should get back to their 76. Okay, we'll move on to our next calculation. Now it's really important that we don't say the word sum, because sum is adding. And if we say sum, they get confused about which is which. So we really need to avoid saying sum when we're talking about subtraction. So we want to say subtraction, take away, or a calculation rather than the word sum. Okay? So we're starting off now with 3 take away 5. And the first question, is 3 big enough to take away 5? No, we can't do it. So we're going to have to borrow. So we're going to turn that into our 6 and carry our 10 onto there. We've now got 13 take away 5, which is 8. Again, 6 take away 8. 6 isn't big enough, so we're going to have to borrow again this time. So this has got double borrowing on. Now we've got 16 take away 8, which is 8, and 3 take away 2, which is 1. And that's our answer there. Now this last example here is the kind that kids find really tricky and will often make mistakes on. So this one is worth a lot of practice. So 6 take away 3 we can do, and we get 3. However, lots of children, when they come to 0 take away 2, will put the answer 2. And they need to be reminded that 0 is too small to take away 2. So we would normally go and borrow from here. But if there's another 0, we're going to have to go again. And this time we're borrowing from our 2 and turning it into a 1. They're all usually fine with that, but then they want to put the 1 straight onto here. But we can't do that. We have to borrow it onto the next one to make that a 10. then we cross the 10 out and turn it to a 9, and then we can put it on there. So we must move it just one jump at a time. Then we've got 10 take away 2, which is 8, 9 take away 4, which is 5, 1 take away 1 is 0. And just remind them at this point that that 0 doesn't actually mean anything. So when we come to writing our answer, we would just write 5, 8, 3. Okay, thanks.